The pointer, the most famous pointer in Taoism, in a way, is everything is nothing and nothing is everything. Now, how this translates to the language of Advaita? The most precise translation would be everything is consciousness. Now, how useful is this pointer? And how helpful can be for you? That's what I will discuss today. We could say that there are two main pointers in Advaita. There are many, but let's simplify the path to two fundamental pointers. One is rest as consciousness or rest as awareness, which is the same. And the other one is everything is consciousness. The first one is pointing to the nothingness. The second one is including the nothingness, but it's also including the content that is arising in the nothingness and recognizing the truth that in the ultimate, essentially, everything that is arising is consciousness. Now, how true is this? Of course, if you have had the realization that everything is consciousness, you don't need to listen to arguments or mental proof, or scientific proof or anything like that. But let us say that you haven't yet experienced that clear realization. If you look at science says that everything is vibration, energy, vibrating, right? So this microphone is vibration, ultimately. Matter is energy in a different state. Then, why science doesn't say that everything is consciousness? Well, because it hasn't come to that point. Still is limited. The scientific knowledge is limited. It's getting closer. But think of the time that there was nothing yet in the universe. There was only consciousness, emptiness, the Buddhists would say. There was only consciousness, no vibration. So the first thing that happened was that consciousness began to vibrate. In that initial basic fundamental vibration appears what in the Indian scriptures is called the Om sound. It's the fundamental vibration throughout the universe. And of course, again, that Om sound can be contacted in meditation directly, right? You can listen to the Om. Eventually, in Samadhi, in an Om Samadhi, you can become one with the Om, which you are already, but there is the realization, right? I am Om. I think in Christianity it is called the Comforter or the Holy Spirit, something like that. Then as consciousness kept on vibrating in lower frequencies, the other things in the universe began to appear. Until the vibration was low enough to materialize this type of things, matter, molecules. So everything began with pure consciousness. And pure consciousness still is here, of course, and it's in your experience also. So when you use the pointer rest as consciousness, rest as awareness, you are pointing to that pure consciousness, the container of everything. And you are kind of discarding the content. And is it a good practice? Yes, by all means. It's transforming, right? Transforming. But there is another option, the option of practicing everything is consciousness. That pointer is pointing to not only the container, but also the content that is arising in the container, in consciousness. And this is not theoretically, this is something that you can see in your own experience, okay? You can see that every object, thought or emotion or motivation or anything, any thing, content is arising in awareness. You can realize this, you can observe it in your own experience. So awareness or consciousness is the big container, the ultimate container, even space. The perception of a space is arising in consciousness. Consciousness is prior to space. So when you practice everything is consciousness and you follow the pointer, now you are not removing anything. You are allowing attention to include, and attention is consciousness too, obviously. We could say that attention is like consciousness directed to something. So now, when you practice the pointer resting as consciousness, you are not removing anything. You are just acknowledging that everything that is arising is also consciousness. And then attention doesn't reject anything. Now, what are the benefits of practicing this? It's marvelous. It's life transforming. Again, Nisargadatta Maharaj said, when I am nothing, meaning the container without things, that is wisdom. And when I am everything, that is love. And between these two, my life revolves. So this great sage, right, is telling us, practice either one. Now, sometimes one of them is naturally available to you. You go for a walk and you rest as awareness, and that's plenty. Other times, you feel that you're pushing things out, and instead of doing that, you move into everything is consciousness, you include everything, and now you're resting. So, attain that flexibility in your practice. The flexibility of including everything also. The content in the big container consciousness. Do you need to sit and meditate and go into the lotus posture and put your spine erect and so on? No, you don't. You can go for a walk and you can practice these pointers very well. You can practice them in a meeting with people. You can practice it easily during your work. In some situations, there are some that are more difficult, I understand, where attention has to be focused on content, so it makes it more difficult. But these two pointers and practicing them, because they are not worth anything without really making them part of your life and realizing what they really mean in your own experience, right? These two pointers are of invaluable worth, are absolutely invaluable. So one of the things that I do in my work with students is to coach them into this practice, on how to practice these two pointers. So in case that you realize that this is too difficult, that you're not being able to do it, and so on, or you want a push, some help to go into this practice, to establish them in your life, send me an email. I will leave here below my email. I charge a very modest fee. Today I'm retired, so but I do have students, and there is great joy in helping and communicating these things. And also my quote work, because it's not mine, also includes aspects that have to do with the content that is arising. The content is the mental stuff, thoughts, emotions. And what is the problem with this material that is arising? Well, it is that some of this material has velcros. And these velcros get the attention and doesn't allow it to open up, to flow. And what type of content have this problem? negative thoughts, negative emotions, conflicting motivations, attachments and addictions to sensations, crooked beliefs, beliefs that are not true. All these things, this mind stuff, needs to be uprooted one way or the other, because those velcros are a problem. At least those that are really heavy. So that's part of the work that I do, and due to a background in psychotherapy and a background also in nutrition for decades, brain nutrition mostly, this mind-body organism can do this work. Yeah, and it's helpful for those who are serious in the path of Advaita. If the individual is just, looking for a spiritual experience, well, they may get it, in fact, but with Advaita, listening to teachers and so on. But if you want liberation, if you want ultimate liberation, where now nothing can bind you, you need to purify the mind-body organism. And there are different ways to do that, of course. So that's it. I hope this helps you to understand more the path. Is it important to understand the path? Is it valuable? Yes, very much so. Take care.